Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and we are finally in MLB The Show 19. It released early this morning, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get started with it. We are going to be starting a new franchise in this one, and we are going to be going with the New York Mets. That is my favorite team. That is the team I follow. A team that I'm actually, regardless, really excited about. Well, not regardless, but I am really excited about them because they are my favorite team. But regardless, it's a team with a lot of potential. Van Wagenen has done a very good job in this offseason, in my opinion, bringing in a lot of depth, a lot of veteran major league depth. He's brought in a couple of big names like Ramos at catcher, Diaz, the closer. He brought back Familia, brought in Cano. And of course, we have a pretty good rotation still. Very strong rotation. We have a couple of good veterans already on the team, a couple of younger players that have a lot of potential. So the team, the future looks bright for the Mets. The only problem is we're in a very difficult division. The Phillies, of course, had probably the best offseason in the major leagues, bringing in guys like Real Muto. Harper was the big name. McCutchen, Segura. Brought in a couple of relievers as well in trades with Seattle. The Braves won the division last year. They have a lot of good players, a couple of young good players, and they brought in Donaldson. I'm not sure if they brought in anyone else. I can't remember, but either way, they're still a good team. They won the division last year, and of course we have the Nationals, who I'm really, really not a fan of. But without Harper, they're still a very good team. That is definitely going to compete for probably years to come. But they're going to be a team right in there to win the division as well. So we got a 4-team race, really. The Mets are kind of could be considered, to be the 4th team there. But regardless, they're all good. They all have the possibility of winning the division. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But in here, we're going with the Mets. And we're going to start a new franchise. I did jump in already. I'll mention the roster in a second, but I did jump in already just to kind of see how everything worked, to see if anything was new. So I kind of got an idea of a few things that we can go over. But yeah, we're going to be going with the Mets. One thing that I noticed with the team budget, I think it's probably because they made a point to make the player contracts realistic. So the contracts that the players have are exactly what they should be in real life. So I don't know if that adjusted the team budget or if they adjusted the team budget as well. But in my opinion, the team budgets used to be, at least for some teams, used to be kind of low. So it's nice to see, like for the Mets, it's just under 200 million. So that's really nice to see. I feel like they could be higher than 15th overall, but that could just be, in my opinion, being a big Mets fan. I don't know. Either way, they're a good team that has the potential to win, but we'll see. For the roster, actually, really quickly, I don't know if anybody watches the Ant Ortiz, his channel. He does a lot of rebuilds. He uploaded a video today, and I think it was MLB 19, but I just saw the beginning. But the roster that he used, because I wasn't sure what roster to use, I figured if he's using it, it's probably decent enough. I went in and checked a little bit, at least just for the Mets, and it was okay. The problem is there wasn't really any realistic roster to download that I knew of at the moment. So for right now, we're going to be going with that. I'm waiting for the OSFM rosters to come out, but I don't think they're out just yet. But yeah, I will put down the roster that I'm using in the description below. If you watch his most recent video, it is the same roster that he mentions. But either way, I'll put it in the description as well. So the ignore budgets, we're going to keep them off. We're going to keep forced trades off. We're going to try to keep this as realistic as possible. So everything is on manual except for the scouting. So I like the CPU to just handle that on its own. And then when the draft comes around, we can go in and manually do that. So let's keep moving forwards here. We're going to start in spring training. I know a lot of people tend to just jump right into the regular season. But for me, I personally like to adjust the 40-man roster, the 25-man roster. And another thing that I noticed with the contracts extensions, which they added in this year, which is really exciting actually, but it kind of puts a little more importance, I feel like, on spring training, because you're only able to do the extensions at two, I think it was the offseason and spring training. So if you want to extend guys to begin the franchise, you're going to have to come into spring training, I think. But either way, that is the first thing I want to mention, the contract extensions. I went in and again, I saw, as I just adjust this, I saw I figured out how to do it. I wasn't too sure. But we're going to extend DeGrom because if you're a Mets fan, you got to be pretty excited about this. But it finally happened. They extended DeGrom. I think it was through 2023 with an option for 24 and an opt-out after 22. But still, he's going to be a Met for longer than he would have if they weren't able to get that done. So I'm really excited to have him continuing to be our ace, but I want to make it a little bit more realistic, so we're going to extend him now that they have extensions in this game. So we're going to do a 5-year. It's going to be a little bit more than he got, but we just want to make him happy here. So the big thing is, should I put an option? I think I'm going to put a player option for a 6-year. Anyway, for the payout structure, I wasn't sure exactly how it would work out with the normal, the backloaded, and the front-loaded. I know what they mean, but to see exactly how it works. So I did, when I was looking through everything, I did offer him, Wheeler, and Syndergaard the same contracts, all $31 million, all 5 years, and saw exactly how it works. So the front-loaded, another thing was DeGrom got the front-loaded, and then the other two guys got a normal and a back-loaded. So we're going to offer this to DeGrom, front-loaded. That's what I wanted to do. And we're going to see how that works. So as you can see, in 2020, he gets 38.9. Now, of course, it's going to be different for however much you offered the player and for however many years. But for a 5-year, $31 million per year contract that we just offered him, the first year is 38.9 and jumps down to 34.9, then 31, which is the value that we had for each year, and that's what it's going to be every year if it's normal, and then it goes to 27.1 and then 23.1. So this is a front loaded, and if it's back loaded, it's literally just going to be the opposite, I noticed. So there's no intricate workings going on, if I'm even saying the right things here, but it's just going to be the opposite for front loaded and back loaded as far as I can tell. And the normal, of course, if you offered him a 5-year deal for $31 million, each year is going to be $31 million. But it's really cool that they did that because it makes it more realistic. It really helps out with the budget, which is another thing I want to check, which is positive, so that's good. But it really helps out moving forward so that you're not stuck in any way with wanting to make the team better, but it's you can't really work with too much to be able to do that. So it kind of gives it a little bit more flexibility year by year to do different things to keep the team better, or keep the team good, or make the team better moving forward. But yeah, a little unhappy here that we have to pay Cespedes this much when he's hurt all the time. But we'll see what happens moving forwards. So the budget, of course, is positive. That's good. Another thing I want to do is to jump into the contracts for the coaches and the scouts. I do want to make sure, in real life, I don't know if you give guys ratings. I don't know if, Davis and Island here are C or are C's, but either way, they're C's in the game. So we want to fire them. But yeah, we want to make sure that it could be I think it doesn't necessarily matter too much, but I could be wrong on that. But we want to make sure that all the coaches, if we're able to, are A's and B's in their attribute grade in the upper right-hand corner. So we just want to fix that up since those two guys that we fired were rated C's. So that should be good now. Make sure all the players are just happy that they have a good coaching staff around them. And then, of course, we want to get the best scouts that we're able to. And we want to try, at least I like to do one for each region, East, Central, West, and International. So right now we have 2 Centrals, an International, and an East. And usually it kind of goes with like the higher their salary would be, or their asking price, the better they are. Efficiency and discovery are pretty important, obviously, but yeah, that's kind of what I go with. Again, I'm not 100% sure about this. It's just coming off from things that I've learned and things that I've seen other people do over the years. So we got East here. If there's a better East, we'll go with it. There is. So we're going to bring in Newsom over McClendon. Two Centrals. Central is the first thing here. So we're going to switch that up. Singletary. Interesting. And then International, we're going to switch, and then we need to get a West. All right, so now we have a West, East, International, and Central, so we're all good there. So the scouts are good, coaches are good. I want to make sure that the injuries are off, because that's usually what I'll do here. Again, it doesn't really matter if injuries are on or off to me, and they are off, so that's good. But if, people prefer one over the other, I've had people prefer them to be off, and I understand why. So, that's what I'm doing right now. But if people, want to switch it up or want a more realistic franchise or rebuild on another one, I'm always open to doing that. It doesn't matter too much to me, but it is definitely a little bit easier with the injuries off. The only thing it takes away is, giving guys opportunities to come up. Like if there is an injury, someone comes up and then he ends up doing well, he sticks with the team and he turns into a really good player. That might not happen if injuries are off and he never really gets that chance. So again, that just kind of has to do with realism, I think. But everything should be good. We just got to adjust the roster here. I do want to actually, because I did see a couple of the overall ratings I didn't really agree with. I'm not going to change them like too drastically, but for instance, I think like Smith is a little bit better than a 63. I think Alonso is a lot better than a 53. They do have the wrong age for him, I think. I think he's 24. I could be wrong. But yeah, a couple other guys. I feel like Rosario might be a little bit better than that, especially with the spring he's had. I think Nimmo might be a little bit better than a 72. JD Davis, I noticed. Where is he? Here he is. I think he's a little bit better than a 61, but things like that. There's a couple players that I do just want to adjust slightly. So I'm going to do that really quick before we jump into the 40-man roster and the 25-man roster in spring training. So I'm just going to do that. We'll be right back to the screen in just a second. All right, so I went through, I adjusted a few of the players here. Gazelman, I think he was... I don't know if we went through the roster at all, so I don't know if you guys can go back and check. I think he was a 68, so we just adjusted, kind of pushed everything up a few points just to get him to like a 72. Who else? We had Smith. I put him up to a 72. I do think this is a little more accurate. I mean, I'm sure people disagree with me, just in my opinion, especially with the spring that he's having. And we pushed Alonso up to a 70. I am keeping him just a little bit lower overall than Smith, partly because they have him as 23, and I'm pretty sure he's 24, so it's kind of like in my head he gets an extra year here. But I do have him at an 89 potential, just so that, if he does good, it'll go up to an A. If not, it'll stay at a B, because I do think he's at least a B. But Smith and Alonso are both guys that are still really young, and they can still turn into very good major league players. They still have a lot of potential, even though Smith has already played parts of 2 seasons and Alonso hasn't even played in the majors. They're still very good, players. So that was switched up a little bit. Guillorme I brought up to a 61. I think I switched his fielding a bit more because he is supposed to be a very good fielder. And I pushed up his contact just a little bit, but I think he was like a 56 or 7 maybe. And then JD Davis I brought up a bit. Nothing too crazy, as you can see. I'm not really too sure about any of these guys. I haven't really gone into any of the rosters in the past too much and, done it where you adjust everyone accurately. So I'm kind of just going off what I think, which is in part why I wanted to do it. Not do too much, but just get them up a little bit more to an area where I think they should be at. Rosario, I increased his contact a bit. Again, someone who's having a pretty good spring. And I increased his fielding a little bit, I think, too. But he's a 76, and then, of course, Nimmo I brought up as well to a 76. I do think he's better than that. But again, I just kind of increased a few things up a little bit more. But yeah, that's really all I did. Now we got to go through and switch up some of this 40-man roster stuff. I don't need, like 10 outfielders. So we got Cespedes. 1, 2, 3, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I do want to take Blanco off the 40-man roster. Did I just move him? I didn't remove him from the 40-man roster. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is one more than I usually have, but we'll leave it for now. We got these two guys, Rosario and Hechavarria, Davis and Frazier, Cano, Lowry, McNeil, and I'm not sure if Herrera's on the 40-man roster, actually, but for right now, we'll leave him. We got Smith. We want to add Alonso. And then at catcher, we have Ramos, Mesoraco, d'Arnaud, and Nido. Again, some of these guys, they're injured right now. I'm not planning on starting them in the minors because in real life they're injured. I feel like it's unnecessary right now to do that. Again, like Mesoraco, for instance, he's got a little bit of a situation going on with his contract and what he wants to do and what the Mets want to do. So I don't really know exactly where he is right now or where he's going to be. But I do want to keep him kind of as backup in case d'Arnaud doesn't do too well. We'll get to the 25-man roster in a second, but I am probably going to keep him as well. And then just got to see here. I do want to add Burnett. Probably take off a couple guys down here. If there are any. I don't think there are any. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we have 39. So 7, 9, and 1. So that's 17. What can we add? Or we actually don't need to add anyone. What am I saying? It's not really necessary. Actually, Doughty is on the 40-man roster, but he's not very good here. So maybe we won't add him. We could definitely take Conlon off for right now. Yeah. All right. So let's just, let's just go into spring training, sim through that. And for me, spring training, like if there's a couple guys that I'm a little unsure about, whether I want to send them down or keep them up, or it's between them and another guy, sometimes spring training just helps kind of, make up my decision for me. I know it's just spring training, but, if someone's doing good right now, especially in the game, I'd rather just go with them. So sometimes I use that just to kind of see guys that are kind of on the border. But he did really good in 15 innings. Surprisingly. Okay. But right now, you're going to go back to AAA. Sorry. And that's it for there. So we got our starting 5. Vargas, Matz, Wheeler, Syndergaard, and DeGrom. And Vargas did really good. That's really nice to see, actually. Then we have Diaz to be our closer. Familia is our setup guy. And then we have Lugo. We have 9 relievers here, but we really can only carry 6. Bachelor, we're going to send down. Santiago, we're going to send down. He didn't do too bad. And then I think Burnett, because we really don't need 3 lefties. So we're going to send down Burnett. So we got our pitching staff pretty much set up here. We got Sewald, Gizelman, Wilson, Avilan, Lugo, and Familia in the bullpen. Diaz is our closer, and of course our starting 5 that we just mentioned before. For catchers, we have Ramos. He did really bad in spring training. We have Ramos. Mesoraco is going to be sent down for right now. Same with Nido, who didn't do too bad in 17 at-bats. d'Arnaud hit 400. 3 homers. He's got a little bit of pop. So we got Ramos and d'Arnaud as our two catchers. I'm not really sure what we're doing here just yet. Probably going to start Alonso in the minors, which I'm okay with, especially because he's only 23. And I'm pretty sure, again, that he's 24 in real life. So, like I said, it kind of gives him an extra year here. So we're going to send him down. We're going to go with Smith for right now at first. We got Cano, Lowry, McNeil, Herrera we're going to send down as well. So that's 4 guys on the infield, and Frazier and Rosario. Yeah, so we'll send Davis for right now down to AAA. Same with Hitcheverria. Just as depth pieces. So that's good on the infield. Then we have Cespedes in the outfield. Lagares, Conforto, Nimmo. I'm going to send Gomez down, even though has to pass through waivers. I don't think he's going to be taken. Cespedes, Conforto, Nimmo, Lagares, and Braxton Lee's going to get sent down. Davis or Broxton? I mean, I guess Broxton. Because, I mean, he's got speed too. Davis's contact isn't much better. Broxton brings pop, and he's a good fielder. Probably just the better option right now. So, our 25-man roster is set, and we are ready to start the season once we fix the situations here in the pitching and the rotation and the bullpen and the lineups. So actually, I'm going to do that just to save a little bit of time, and I'll meet you guys back and we can go over it really quickly before we get the season underway. Alright, so we've fixed the rotation. I am going to have to go in and do the minor leagues once we get to the beginning of the minor league season, which is about a week into the major league season. But we got DeGrom as our ace, of course, and then Syndergaard as number 2, Wheeler, Metz, and Vargas. Lugo is going to be our long man. Middle relief is Wilson, Gazelman, Sewald, and Avilan. Familia, of course, is the setup man, and Diaz is the closer. For the lineups, we have Nimmo in center, and the lineups are pretty much the same throughout. But we have Nimmo in center, Lowry's playing third, Cano's at second, Ramos is at catcher, Conforto's in right, Cespedes is in left, Smith is at first, Rosario's short, and McNeil's going to DH against the righties, and Frazier's going to DH against the lefties. But of course, we got Broxton, d'Arnaud, and Lagares making up the rest of that bench. This is actually really good because it's very... it's a good mix-up as far as left-right switch hitters go, with a couple good contact guys at the top. I really like McNeil if we're facing an AL team. At the bottom, he could be a good leadoff hitter with his contact and vision, so it's nice to have him as that second leadoff hitter at the bottom. And of course, we have Rosario hitting 8th. Not too bad of an 8th hitter. I was kind of torn between putting McNeil in at second and moving Cano to first, but I kind of want Smith to develop a little bit more, or see if he develops a little bit more. And also, if we have him and, what's his name? Frazier. If we have him and Frazier on the bench along with 2 outfielders and a catcher, we really don't have anyone to step in and be a backup or a utility player for, second and short. So I feel like McNeil serves us better as that type of player, which I think he's pretty much going to be when the season starts, unless they need him to fill in for an injury. But he is a really good player, as you can see the contact. He really did well when he came up last year. Couple 4-hit games, actually, so he was a really, really nice player to have on the roster. But yeah, that should do it, so let's get started. Let's see how things actually, really quickly, top prospects. I don't know, I noticed this. I don't know why they have Acuna as a top prospect. I mean, they have his stats. So I don't know, because he won the Rookie of the Year last year, so, which, again, I know people have mentioned it, but they really should get away with Twitter and put in an awards tab here. That would be so much more nicer to have, just to see all the awards that they get throughout their career. They had that in 2K, I remember, and I always looked back at that to see how everything went down over the years and what they did. And it's kind of frustrating that they don't have that. And then in the awards section, you can only... I did press the right one. Okay. You can only see back 3 years, so... I don't know. It kind of bothers me, but it's they don't have it. It's the beginning of the year. There's no point in getting too upset about it right now. But hopefully they switch that up or add that in, next year or something like that. But yeah, top prospects. That's what I was doing. So let's see if the Mets have anyone. I don't know if Alonso's going to be in here. Jimenez is definitely... Actually, I don't know if he's in the top 50, but he's definitely a top prospect, but he's not in this game right now. So no, we don't have anyone. All right. What are we rated? We are rated 9th. Very nice. So let's get started with the season. Sim up to that opening day, this day off right here, because that'll get us to the minor leagues. You've got a 1-run lead. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to turn off critical situations. Actually, if you guys want to see this every so often, feel free to let me know. And I'd definitely be down to do it. Just to kind of, it takes up time if we're just kind of simming through the season. But we're not going to do that right now. All right, so we're going to auto fix that for right now. Auto fix everything. We have started the... Oh, they added that in up there. That kind of reminds me of like 2013 or like 2014 in the game where they had the pitcher stats up in the top right and left corners of the screen. I don't know. I just noticed it. It was just something different. Anyway, we are 3-4, so not the best start, but it's only 7 games. But we do have to go in and make sure that all of our better players are kind of getting a chance to play here. So we'll move him up to AA right now. Vientos, AA. Definitely want to move him up to AA. I don't know if we're going to have room for all these guys. So we have 29 guys in AA. Zamora. I should have switched him. He's definitely not anything near 48 overall. He can play. He should be in the 60s. That's kind of retarded. Kind of wrong. Excuse me. But yeah. Who did we just call up? You know what? I'm gonna go through this because it's probably gonna take a little bit of time. I'm gonna go through this. I'll let you guys know once I'm done with it, and we'll go over it really quickly, and then get back into the season. We're probably gonna sim. In this video, we'll probably go about halfway through the season, but we'll go up to the draft and see how everyone's doing at that point. All right, so we can finally get started. I don't exactly have time with the recording, because I am recording internally within the PlayStation, so I only have a certain amount of time here before it stops recording on me. So I'm gonna leave the minor league, at least the lineups, just to save a little bit of time until I finish this video, but I will go back and adjust them to make sure they're good. So we're going to sim right to, I guess the draft is probably a good spot to stop, but as you can see, a trade has been made. The Yankees acquire Leclerc from the Rangers for DJ LeMahieu. Why did you even get DJ LeMahieu then, Yankees? It makes no sense. Did Leclerc, wait, was it Leclerc? There was a Rangers reliever. Maybe it wasn't Leclerc. Maybe it was, I can't remember his name. He's on the Brewers. He signed an extension that was kind of like, definitely could have gotten more money, people felt like. But regardless, Leclerc has been traded to the Yankees, and LeMahieu is now on the Rangers. So yeah. Pretty confusing. I don't know why the Yankees would have signed him in the first place then. Alright, let's keep simming. Just keep simming. See how everybody's doing. So far, we're pretty much just hanging around 500, so not the best way to start the season. Definitely going to be trying to make a few trades if we can. Again, we're going to have to check on the budget, and I'm pretty sure the draft is on the Thursday. It's not on a Thursday? Maybe not. Maybe it's not on a Thursday. The Cubs are interested in a trade. Who do you want? You want to give me Addison Russell or Dom Smith? I don't want Addison Russell. Not just because of, off the field issues that he's had, but I'm not a big fan of his to begin with. No, I don't think so. That also puts money on our budget, I guess. So we're not going to do that. But it looks like the draft is on a Wednesday. Is that the draft? When is the draft? I guess it's on a Wednesday. It's probably a different day than last year, I'm assuming. So we're going to stop right here then. Kind of see how everyone's doing. So Vargas, not the best. He's trending down, so that's not good to see. So we could definitely use another starting pitcher. We got Matz, who's performing pretty well. He's definitely trending up. Not a bad year so far for him. He only has 4 wins, but as you can see, his ERA is under 3. Wheeler, not too bad. Not as good as he was in the second half last year, but 3.5 ERA is not bad at all. Then he's also trending up as well, actually, Wheeler. So he's now an 80. Syndergaard's having a rough year. I don't know what's going on with Syndergaard. He's still trending up, kind of. It doesn't say that by his overall, but you see a lot more pluses. So hopefully he can get things going, but there's no reason to change anything with him in the rotation or trade him. We're not going to do that. And then we have DeGrom, who's being dominant as he should. 2.27 ERA so far, 93 strikeouts, 7 wins. So he is our ace. He's a very good pitcher. Now in the bullpen, we got Gazelman, who's having a good year, 3.21 ERA. Avilan's definitely struggling a little bit. We might consider calling up Burnett if he continues to struggle. Sewald, 2.45, pretty good. Wilson's also struggling. That's not good. Yeah, hopefully you can turn that around. I don't know. I'm a little unsure about Wilson. I guess it has to do with his walks. But, yeah, I guess we'll have to see how he does, see how he continues to do. If he keeps, not performing well, maybe we look to move him at the deadline. Avilan, we might bring up Burnett, give him a shot. But we'll see. We're not there quite yet. Lugo is not doing very well at all. Yikes. 6.35 ERA. He's only pitched 17 innings. I'm not sure why. Maybe our starters are going deep in the games? I'm not sure. Familia, again, not doing too great. I don't know what's going on with the bullpen here. Diaz, not doing good at all. Why? Why is that? I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, bullpen's not doing too great. Some of them, like Familia, Diaz, Lugo, I'm not looking to trade them or move them. So I'm hoping they, turn things around a little bit as the season goes on. Wilson, we might look to move. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, not looking good in the bullpen right now. Ramos, only 6 homers. Then again, it is only the beginning of June. I keep thinking it's the All-Star break here, but Ramos looking good, or looking okay. Hitting 268. It's only 6 homers, like I said, so not a lot of power right now. He is trending down, so I don't know what to think about that too much. We'll see. Darno's not doing too great, so again, we may look to call up someone like Mesoraco, see if he can do any better. I don't think Nito's ready just yet. His defense is there, his offense is absent. Smith hitting 262, only 4 homers. Not a huge power guy. He's more of a gap-to-gap hitter, but, not too bad. Alonso's struggling a little bit in the minor leagues, so we'll see how he continues to perform. He's still doing good, though. He's trending up. Same with Smith, I think. Nope. Doesn't say it next to his overall, but he technically is trending up. Cano hitting 336. He's trending down a little bit, but he's doing pretty good. He got his 2,500th hit, hitting 336. That's really good to see. Lowry hitting 251, so a little bit lower than I'd expect to see. He's trending down a bit. That's the one thing. A lot of the players on here are a bit older. So, we'll have to see if we can hold on to them for as long as their contracts allow, depending on how much they're declining, or if we have to move them somehow. But right now, I think we're okay for the most part. McNeil is performing well, but he's not getting a lot of playing time. He's only hitting 328. I'm not only hitting 320. He only has 67 at-bats. He is hitting 328, so that's really good. He's continuing his high average hitting from last year. So he's trending up, so he might, eventually get that second base job, or third base. You never know. Frazier hitting 271, so a lot better than last year to start this year. Only 13 hits, 3 homers, but we'll see if he can keep that up or if he drops a bit. Rosario hitting 268, so not too bad. Not too bad by him. 331 on base, so he's working some walks, so that's nice to see. I didn't increase his walks too much, or his vision and discipline. I don't think I did. No, I definitely didn't. I think I moved his vision up a few points, but maybe that was a little high. I'm not sure. But yeah, he's doing okay. He's not doing too bad. Cespedes hitting 283, only 7 homers. He's trending down a bit. Lagares is hitting 283, so that's good to see. He's kind of performing offensively. That's kind of the question mark with him. Broxton, not so much. Not so much. He does have 6 stolen bases. Decent on base. But, how's his fielding? No errors, so that's good. Okay. So, they're doing pretty good as bench players. Average-wise, not so much for Broxton, but overall, they're not too bad. Again, this is all kind of like we'll see how they'll continue as the year goes on. We're only in the beginning of June, but I don't want to make this video super long, so I do want to cut it at some point. So that's why we're kind of going over the roster and seeing how everyone's doing. Now, Nimmo's hitting 263. He's got 10 homers. 350 on base. So less than last year, but still not bad for his average. So he's still improving. And then, of course, Conforto, who's still trending up as well. He's only got 6 homers. Strange. Definitely should have more than that. 55 hits, hitting 272, 365 on base. So, yeah, a couple guys struggling. For instance, Broxton. McNeil's not getting too much playing time. A bad bullpen, but that's supposed to be good. That seems to be our problem all the time, or at least just a bad bullpen in general. But we got some names in this bullpen, so we should be doing a little bit better than we are. But we'll kind of see how things progress. We'll start the next video with the draft, see where things go from there. And probably finish out the year, and then of course depending on if we make the playoffs, that'll be its own separate video. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm still getting used to the little changes throughout the game here. The screens, it takes a little bit longer if you're going on to somebody's player card. You have to wait for it to fully load before you back out of it. So that's kind of annoying to me, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to continue with the second part, technically, of the season in the next one, like I said. And until then, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you guys at the draft.